Hi there, I'm going to talk a bit about glute activation now. Now the reason why this is important in terms of back health as a chiropractor, I see a lot of clients who struggle with what's sometimes referred to as gluteal amnesia, so sitting a lot during the day, driving, sitting at computers. We're sat on our backsides basically most of the time nowadays. So if you can imagine that muscle, strongest muscle in the body, one of the most important really in terms of ambulation and upright posture, we're just squashing that muscle all day. We're restricting blood flow, restricting activation of the muscle. So it's not surprising really that quite often we find when we test the muscle function in the glutes, they struggle. Some people can't even isolate one side over the other, and quite often that results in back problems and overly tight hamstrings, hip flexors, and can actually inhibit your hip motion as well. So this is a set of exercises that I often give my clients to try and switch those muscles back on. We're going to try and activate both sides, bilateral glutes, but also individual. We're just going to start with some floor-based exercises first. This is what I recommend if you do struggle, and then you can move up to more dynamic type exercises, things like squats, lunges, single leg squats, deadlifts if you can, but I wouldn't advise trying any of those things until really you're confident and relaxed in your motion through the hips really. So more body weight and mat based stuff first. So let's get started. So the first one is fairly straightforward. I'm sure most people have probably seen this before. It's a straightforward gluteal bridge. So you lie on your back, shoulder blades down, knees about hip width apart. Your heels want to be about a hand from your bum basically, unless you're struggling with knee problems or hip problems. And what you want to try and do first, we've talked about the co-contraction, the activation of these muscles in another video of mine doing the dying bug track. So engage those muscles first. You want your spine to be nice and stable. And what you do then, you squeeze your glutes together and you push into your heels until your body comes off the ground. When you get to the top of the motion, squeeze those glutes, keep them nice and squeezed. What you don't want to feel, if you can help it, is that your hamstrings are doing all the work. So when you wobble your hamstrings, they should be relatively loose. You want to feel like these glutes are nice and firm. Okay, so get to the top of the motion, squeeze, and then down again. So the whole movement should take 2 or 3 seconds. Bring yourself up, squeeze, and then down. Now if you're really struggling you suffer with tight hamstrings and you're really struggling not to use them, what you can do is do it with your toes up against a wall, and as you lift, try and push your toes into the wall, because then you activate the quads a little bit, which then inhibits the hamstrings. So the next one, if you're happy with keeping this nice and stable, switching the glutes on, you can then do what's called a gluteal march, which you go up into the glute position, and then you keep this nice and stable and engaged, and then you can lift one foot off the floor, down, opposite foot, down, opposite foot, down. You're looking to do around 5 to 10 repetitions on each leg, depending on how competent you are at that one. The key is that you're really trying to keep your pelvis nice and straight and stable and keep those back muscles engaged. Now if this is a little bit advanced, so if you're struggling with this one, then there's others that you can do, and I'll show you those in a second. But yeah, you're looking to try and keep yourself stable as you come up. What I don't want people to try and do, if you can help it, is use your hands for stability. But if you really need to, that's okay, it's a good place to start. The other way that you can do this one is you can actually start in that bridge position again. Engage the muscles, squeeze the glutes, and actually just lift. Okay, one at a time. So you do 10 and then swap legs. 10, and again, squeeze that glute at the top of the motion. Try not to use your hamstrings. Okay, now if you do struggle with that single leg version of that, there's another way to do it called the mule kick. So you come onto all fours, try and get your back into a neutral position, and what you're looking to do here is actually squeeze your glute up. Okay, and when you get to the top of the motion, squeeze that glute muscle. You don't need to be trying to get up here, just bring it level with your hips, squeeze that glute at the top of the motion, and then down. And down. Okay, keeping the knee bent tends to take the hamstring out of the equation a little bit. So squeeze that glute, top of the motion. And again, you're looking to try and do 10 both sides, 3 lots with a break in between. Okay, now there's another exercise you can do from this position, which actually is good for the glutes, but also good for the shoulders, posterior scap muscles as well. And it's quite good at just training that cross sling action between shoulder and opposite pelvis. And it's part of a set of back exercises that's often recommended, and I'll pop that up in another video as well. So it's called the bird dog, and basically what you do, opposite arm and leg, and down, opposite arm and leg, and down. Again, squeeze those glutes at the top of the motion. This one's hard because you have to have good balance and you have to have good core control, so you want to be trying to engage those core muscles first. Slowly lift, keep yourself nice and balanced, and then down. Slowly lift, and then down. Okay, and then down. So those glute activation exercises tend to work quite nicely for getting the glutes fired up, individually and together. Struggling to do any of those, really, the first place to start is literally just squeezing your glutes together, both at the same time and then individually as well. And if you are driving a lot, sitting a lot, excuse me, you can even do that while you're sitting or while you're driving, stuck in traffic. You know, just squeeze each glute one at a time. It's all about just getting some blood flow into them, getting some neurological activity into them, so that then you're less likely to get back issues. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.